All right, mates, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well this morning, bright and early for most people. Neighbors aren't even awake yet. It is. Got to get it in. Got to get your fantasy picks in. You can do this here on, you can use the Major League Fishing. A lot of times I just post my picks up for people, but a lot easier if you just use the MLF today. Tackle Warehouse, when you get into MLF, Major League Fishing, just hit fantasy. And then you want to hit the, it'll come up Bass Pro Tour, but you want to go down to the bottom and click Tackle Warehouse because it's Tackle Warehouse Invitational on the Potomac River beginning Saturday, Sunday, and start with about 150, cut on Sunday to 50, and then 50 are going to square off on Monday here in the DMV in the Potomac River, where you will have Virginia water in play, Maryland water in play, and the district for those who want to make the run from Smallwood all the way up to some of the best fishing in the river. The last few weeks have actually been in D.C., according to reports. And some of the areas like Broad Creek, Piscataway, and Broad Creek, and all that as you kind of above the middle river up to D.C. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I can report back. The bite is looking good, mates. Okay. This one could be absolutely killer. Remember, we had the Bass Nation Series Northeast Regional, the same place out of Smallwood Park about 2 weeks ago, I guess, 2 weeks ago. And the 3-day total winning bag by Brian LeClaire from Delaware Bass Nation. He's actually from Denton, Maryland, by the way. So he's a Maryland guy. But he fishes with Delaware Bass Nation. He, I think, was 50 pounds, 10 ounces, I think, was his 3-day total. So think about that, okay? So that was 2 weeks ago. And obviously things are always changed. The tide is different. It's a lot tighter, I think, this time than they had in terms of your amount of time of going into high tide. Necessarily than this week. The weather's going to be pretty darn good in the mid-70s to mid-70s to mid-80s, probably 70, probably 74 to 85, kind of in that range. Could get some scattered showers, may have some little overcast, but nothing. I don't think nothing too major. I think it's going to pretty much set up a lot like the Bass Nation event. We are post-spawn in the Potomac. And I will say this, that you're going to have a lot of people shallow, but I'm not exactly all that sure that that's going to be the get-all, beat-all. I just don't think that. I think a lot of guys this week were out exploring some other water in the channel. Early in the week, there were guys out pre-fishing. There were guys launching from the Virginia side as well, in the Virginia creeks and places like Powell's Creek, Aquia and Powell's and places like that. A lot of boats in those creeks, guys getting back in those creeks and checking that grass out. I did see more, again, barometer is not local. I did see more professional anglers, MLF, okay, and Bass Nation 2 weeks ago, to be honest, but more MLF this week in Powick Bay, and Belmont and Powick. So that's Virginia side, okay. And you've got Mason Neck State Park is up that way, Belmont Bay, and then you got above that is Powick because the grass is good. You got eelgrass and that a lot nicer grass. There is a lot more undiscovered grass areas and patches this year than last year. I really believe that, especially from the bay out towards the channel, and in places in the channel that you typically do not see boats sitting, and boats are there this week. So that is kind of an indication of what could be at play here. People finding a B pattern, a C pattern, or maybe that's going to be somebody's primary pattern. It's going to run. They're going to make that run from Smallwood, up towards Middle River. Typically what we saw with I can only attest to what I saw, okay, with Bass Nation, is you had a lot of guys launching out of Mattawoman going down, okay? Going out of the Mattawoman Creek, either staying in Mattawoman Creek, but we're going out of Mattawoman and going down, not going up. Maybe they're going to Mallows. Maybe they were going, Nanjamoy, okay, they were going down. They were going south. Most of those guys. Now, again, it's a 3-day event. I was only there for the one of the morning launches. So guys were going left. They weren't going right. They weren't heading to DC. They weren't heading to Potomac. They weren't heading to, at least early in the event. Whether or not that changes or not, I think it changes. Okay. I just think what I saw and what I'm hearing people talk about, there are a lot more guys fishing the upper portion than the lower portion 2 weeks ago. That could be experience. There's a lot of guys in this Tackle Warehouse Invitationals that have done very, very well on the Potomac. Okay, this is not the beat Bass Pro Tour in terms of we're kind of like a little easier to pick, I think, people's strengths, and things like that. Tackle Warehouse has a lot of names, a lot of people I am unfamiliar with, to be completely honest with you. But you can go on the Tackle Warehouse Invitational on Fantasy, on Major League Fishing, and you can check in your Group A and your Group B. I don't usually buy into that. You have to when you do these things, when you do these fantasies. I just like to pick 5 guys, okay? And it doesn't matter to me whether it's Bass or MLF, they're Group A and Group B and whatever. I just pick 5 guys who are going to get the knockout round and get to the final day. That's how I look at it. But if you're actually going to do the fantasy fishing, you got to abide by their whatever platform you're on rules. And so this one is you're picking 5 guys from Group A, 5 guys from Group B. Okay. And so some of the anglers that I would take a look at, to make it easier, I just pulled the anglers that I would take a look at. Okay. If I was you, considering your fantasy fishing lineup for the Tackle Warehouse Invitational, Potomac River, June 17th to June 19th. That is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Okay, kind of a long schedule, but it happens. You never know what. I'm not privy to exactly why we do these things. Sometimes they're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sometimes they're Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes they're Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But anyway, so hopefully guys can get out there this weekend. Kids are out of school. It's going to be great. Definitely going to be there on Monday. Hope to see some of you mates out there. I'll definitely be at one of the launches. Just not sure whether it's going to be day 1 or day 2. But if you're going to be out there at Smallwood Park during the day, hit me up. Send me a message or JL Scott Fishing and Eats. We'll catch up. Always like to meet people who follow the channel. And talk fishing and talk all that stuff. So it should be good times. So a couple of the anglers I would take a look at, okay, in your fantasy picks. If you're doing the 10 on the tracker for MLF, Major League Fishing, fantasy. Matt Becker, okay? Christian Greco, Michael Neal. I like Brian Latimer. I threw Brian Latimer in there. Brian Latimer, Nick LeBron, okay? And so a couple of the factors that come into that, just some guys that I think you should take a look at, okay, in Group A. And then let's go Group B. Gray Buck, Pennsylvania. Oh, go back to that. Gray Buck, okay? Regional. Brian Schmitz from Maryland. Does really well on the Potomac. See him out there. He knows the river probably better than anybody in this event, okay? Gray Buck knows the river pretty well too. So you want to throw in some local guys that have some serious talent, okay? Now, I did not see Dakota on this. There was talk he was going to be fishing it. I didn't know that John Cox was fishing this event. He's listed on it. So you got to consider that, man. Guys that can fish shallow. You got to balance it out between shallow, Matthew Stefan, and then and Spencer Sheffield. He came off that big top kind of finish. Some controversy around his stuff that's going on YouTube, but pretty sure he could put that behind him and fish the event. So those are just a guy. Those are 10 guys, okay, that you want to take a look at, okay? And they run the gamut all on the angle of the year, okay? They run the gamut. I mean, there's some guys on that list that I just am not familiar with. This is not an easy one to pick, okay? If you get to pick 10 in this, 5 and 5. If you had to narrow it down to 5, okay, I'm looking at Brian Schmidt. I'm looking at Michael Neal, Matt Becker, Christian Greco. That's 4. I'd go with a Dakota Eber if he was fishing in this. Doesn't look like he is, although people talked about he was gonna. Ooh, that's tough. Gray Buck or maybe Spencer Sheffield. Go with Gray Buck. We're just going to go with those 5. So, Or no, wait, I got to go with John Cox. Sorry. Did I not include John? So we got Brian Schmidt, Michael Neal, Christian Greco, Matt Becker, John Cox. Now watch it come back and haunt me. So if I had to narrow it down to 5, those are my 5 that I'm. Hopefully I'm running into some of the guys. Hopefully I'll get a chance to meet some of them. A lot of these guys I've never met or even seen that are on this. So it'd be interesting to meet some new people. Build those. See who's what. Get some video for you guys. Get some footage for you guys. Probably won't do the interview thing necessarily because those guys are. This guy. I just I hate that. Like it's like they're on the. I mean, they got stuff they got to do, but they're on the event. It's easier to find those guys when they're pre-fishing, when they're a little bit more, or maybe after an event, if some than it is, or if you kind of catch them somewhere else off the water. That's happened a couple times, but like I kind of like just walk around, sit a little mic and quasi a little interview. Like I don't know, I just not down with that. But we'll try and get some good video footage. Launch, and then obviously the Monday should be great when the winner is determined for that, and then we will go from there. But those are your top 5, my 5 and 10 people that you want to take a look at for your toy tackle warehouse invitational Potomac River fantasy picks.